What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the TCL 20A 5G. So let's get started. Now I'd like to thank TCL for being kind enough for sending this phone out to me to cover here on the channel. I have covered almost every phone that this company has released within the last couple of years, so I definitely recommend that you take a look at that content to learn more about the brand and their various devices. But this is yet another entry-level phone from TCL, and it is, at least at the time of recording this video, exclusive to Visible. Now, if you're not familiar with Visible, they are a prepaid carrier owned by Verizon Wireless, and Visible does use Verizon's network. And I've also done a bunch of different videos specifically about Visible on this channel as well, so if you do want to learn more about that carrier, then take a look at that content too. Now this device does feature an MSRP of $192, and you'll be seeing throughout this video that this phone is a very good value for the money because you are getting quite a few features that typically you would not get for that price tag. Now I'm sure as time goes on, there will be various discounts, or not, it's hard to predict the future, but again, I will be linking to this phone in the video description so you can see the most up-to-date pricing for it. Now before I show you a variety of different things about the device, let's take a closer look and see what all comes included here in the box. So here is the box, TCL 20A 5G. There's the phone itself. You can even see in the upper left corner, it does say Visible. And then on the side of the box, we do have some basic specifications, but we'll be going over all of this throughout the video. One that does stand out quite a bit though is dual speakers. So it is cool to see that this phone does indeed have dual speakers because that really isn't something that you find very often in this price range. Now in the box, we do have an 18-watt USB fast charger. So it is pretty awesome to see that this phone does support 18-watt fast charging. We also have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. We have literature here for the quick start guide and safety and precautions. And then finally, we do have the SIM card removal tool. So we do pretty much get everything included here in the box to get started with the TCL 20A 5G. Now with this device, we're getting a 6.52-inch display. So a very large display here with the phone that especially comes in handy for content consumption because being able to watch videos or view photos or even browse the web or go on social media on such a large canvas certainly has its benefits because everything's just a bit bigger. Now the display itself is LCD. It is a 720p display. We're getting a PPI of 269 and we're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio. So a more narrow but taller form factor that is pretty consistent with most smartphones that have launched this year. Now even though it is 720p, things do look decently crisp and clear. Of course, not the best looking display out there relative to a $1,000 smartphone, for example, but for a phone that's under $200, I think it looks really good. And I appreciate that the colors really do pop. The display is bright, and viewing angles are also pretty decent as well, which is especially impressive for LCD display technology. TCL has a very long history of being a TV and display manufacturer, so essentially they took those years and probably more like a decade or two of experience and incorporated that into their mobile displays. And you can definitely tell here that things do look really good. Definitely for content consumption, the TCL 20A 5G is a good choice. And then when you also add in that we are getting dual speakers, that makes things even better. Now up top here, we do have a water drop notch with a 13 megapixel front-facing camera. And stay tuned for my full review of the TCL 20A 5G, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from it. Now with this device, we're getting 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is definitely pretty impressive. And out of that, we're getting about 42 gigabytes that's actually usable, because the system software does take up about 20 gigs on the phone. Now, in addition to having 64 gigs of internal storage, this phone also has microSD card expansion. So if you do want to offload photos and videos, for example, to a microSD card, that is certainly not a bad idea at all. So I do recommend going for a microSD card if you can justify it. Now with the TCL 20A 5G, there is no wireless charging, which is to be expected for a more affordable phone like this one, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the back of the device and also face unlock. So we'll give the fingerprint sensor a try right now. Very quick. One more time. Wow, yes, that's a very fast and accurate fingerprint sensor, so I'm really glad that we do have it here with the phone. And again, the phone also offers the ability to use Face Unlock too, so I do appreciate that we do have multiple methods for accessing the phone. Now, as far as the various cameras go with the TCL 20A 5G, we're getting 3 of them. So there's a 16 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can take photos at up to 115 degrees, and we're getting a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. So I do appreciate that we are getting quite a few camera features here with the phone, and we're also getting portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras. And I know that feature is very popular. Now, pulling up the camera app here, here's how things look. So this is with the main camera right now. Then from here, we can go over to the ultra wide angle camera, which does allow us to fit quite a bit more content into the frame. We can then switch over to portrait mode to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. And then also, you can go over to the side menu and access super macro. So that's for the macro camera, which again allows you to get very close up here and still retain very good detail. Now, there are many other camera features as well, which I will be going into further detail in a future video, but essentially I do like that even though this is a more affordable phone relative to some of the more premium options out there, we're still getting a lot of different camera features and camera hardware as well. Now, flipping around to the front-facing camera, here's how things look. And again, just like the rear camera, we do get portrait mode. So again, a lot of different camera features here available, and I'm really looking forward to going out and taking a variety of different test photos and videos to get a good idea of the quality that we're getting here with the cameras on the phone. But as far as video goes, we are limited at 1080p for the video quality, so keep that in mind. And for many people, that's not a problem at all. So just know that there is no 4K video recording with the TCL 20A 5G. Now, as far as RAM and processor go, this device features 4 gigabytes of RAM, and we're getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 5G processor. So it is pretty awesome to see that in Qualcomm's 400 series, we are now getting 5G processors. As for a very long time, that particular segment of Qualcomm's processors only did LTE, but essentially I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test with the phone to get a good idea of the performance that you'd be getting from that RAM and processor configuration. But essentially, I got a single core score of 523 and a multi-core score of 1773. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of whether or not the TCL 20A 5G is going to be a performance upgrade for you. Because these numbers really don't mean anything unless you're comparing them to another device. But essentially, this phone is a decent mid-ranger as far as performance goes. Of course, I've got to test it quite a bit more prior to the review, but so far, I'm pretty impressed. And certainly compared to other options out there in this price range, I'm really happy with the performance that we're getting, and getting 5G compatibility is yet another awesome feature to have, considering that this device is so affordable. But now that we've gone over a variety of different specifications for this device, let's take a closer look at the hardware here. Now, this phone is made completely out of plastic, besides the display, which is glass. On the left side of the phone, we do have a dedicated button for Google Assistant. On the right side of the phone, we have the power button, volume down and volume up. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone, and we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. And then on the bottom of the phone, we have the speaker, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the microphone. And then on the back of the device, we have the camera module, flash, fingerprint sensor, and TCL logo. Now, I do like that we do have a matte finish on the back of the phone. It doesn't necessarily look that special or unique, but at the same time, I do prefer this finish compared to a glossier finish because this phone does not really pick up any fingerprints. Or at least when it does pick up fingerprints, it's not very obvious. So in general, I think the TCL 20A 5G is a really solid, affordable, budget option that you can get through Visible. Now, I will be linking to this phone in the video description, and also, of course, I'll be putting out the review eventually, and a variety of other videos about the phone as well. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. But this is the TCL 20A 5G. This is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and I hope you have a great day.